the short COVID talk, and then we are going to go into other health issues. Now, let me explain. We're saying, what does with business? What does health issues have to do with enterprise development? Well, the answer is that you need to be healthy in order for you to do business effectively. You need to be healthy in order for you to do business effectively. So the lesson is divided into three parts, and my colleague will take you into that. So after the short COVID talk, we are going to go into the first part, which is how to protect yourselves from HIV/AIDS, and the facilitator will help you to identify some of the social and economic effects and how they may affect your business if you expose yourself to the dangers of HIV and AIDS. So he will talk about prevention for the purpose of protecting the business and also protecting the business itself. So health, HIV/AIDS is directly related to the well-being of your business. In the second part of this topic, my colleague is going to take you through the dangers of alcohol and cigarette smoking and the things and drugs, I beg your pardon, to human life. He will also talk about its social and economic effects. So there are dangers of alcohol, cigarettes, and drug abuse, and there are some negative social effects which my colleague will take you through, and he will show you how to prevent them, how not to go into that because they affect business. So the approach for this lesson is that though we are talking about health, we are looking at the effects on business and how we can keep ourselves healthy, our businesses healthy by avoiding to go into these things. The last part, we'll be talking about hygiene practices and how to apply them in the business environment. So he will talk about personal hygiene. He will talk about hygiene of the workplace. So you have a restaurant, you need to be hygienic. You have a barber shop, you need to observe hygiene. You have a taxi, you have to observe hygiene. You have a store, whatever business you are involved in, there is need for hygiene for the purpose of keeping yourselves healthy, your workers healthy, your customers healthy, and your business also healthy. So, dear learners, I'm sure at this moment you have already started to agree with me that health issues is relevant in enterprise development, and that is the lesson for today. Dear learners, today let me introduce my colleague who is a health expert. He is somebody who has worked for the Ministry of Health and is going to give you a very brief background, and therefore he is more than able as an expert to talk to us regarding this topic. Let me now introduce my colleague. Good morning, sir, and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
Please take it over.
Thank you. Welcome, listeners. Welcome, participants. Today, indeed, is another beautiful day that the Lord has given us. My names are Elliot Mtesi. Just as my colleague has mentioned, I am a retired clinician, and indeed, I'm going to discuss with you on health issues in enterprise development. But as we always do, we shall start with the COVID talk on how to protect ourselves from COVID. What we should know is that this COVID is still with us, and people are still getting, infected. So we need to continue making sure that we protect ourselves from getting this disease. There are those 5 golden rules that we use in order to protect ourselves, and they have worked very well. No wonder you have seen now there are very few numbers actually of people getting, infected. It's because of the same 5 golden rules that we are using to protect ourselves. The first one is regularly washing of hands with soap and water. Actually, the general hygiene, personal hygiene, that in itself helps to protect us from getting this disease. Every time you make sure that you wash your hands with the soap and water. Where you have an opportunity of having, a hand sanitizer, it costs money, of course, you can use that one. It is effective. It kills the germs that may be found on those hands. The second preventive measure is to make sure that whenever you are leaving your comfort zone, put on your mask or wear your mask, and it should be worn correctly. Correctly, I mean you must make sure that it is covering your nose and your mouth. The third preventive measure, avoid as much as possible those crowded and closed places. Avoid crowded places, which could even be closed spaces. Those are areas where you can easily get the disease, because you do not know those many people that have found themselves in those areas. Always maintain a physical distance of about 1 meter between you and the other person. That way, you will also be protecting yourself. If you happen to find yourself in places which are closed, like halls, like classrooms, churches, make sure that you open the windows and doors wide so that there is free flow of air in that particular environment. Then, when you feel unwell, you feel like you are not very well, you are sick, ensure that quickly you visit the nearest health facility so that you can be attended to there. There is the COVID vaccine, which has been found to be very effective. That vaccine has been properly, checked, and it has been found to be safe, and it is effective against this virus. So those of you who have not yet gotten the vaccine, please visit your nearest health facility. This vaccine is there, available. You'll be given, and then you'll be given other instructions. The same vaccine, one is given once, then followed by a booster. The other one, you are given 2 jabs. One jab after, is it a month? Then thereafter, you are given boosters. So that can be, or that will be actually explained to you when you visit the health facility. So when you follow these 6 rules, you will certainly not get, the vaccine, the virus. You may get it, but you will not be very sick that you end up being hospitalized. Okay. I think that is the first part. We have discussed the way you can protect yourself from COVID. Now let's go into the topic of today. I'm sure my colleague mentioned how it has been structured. There are areas where we may add 1 or 2, diseases if we happen to have enough time. But otherwise, we will start the way it has been structured. The first part of it is HIV/AIDS. I'm sure we have been with this disease for quite a long time. Okay, here in Zambia, the first case was identified in 1986 at our university teaching hospital. And the same disease has actually affected the whole world. So AIDS is a worldwide health problem that requires every individual effort to control its spread. So it's you and me who should take part in making sure that we control the spread of this deadly disease. Okay? Now, disease. This disease is caused by a virus, which is called HIV, human immunovirus. It is known as human immuno because it infects only human beings. The virus is in 2 types. You have the first type, type 1, which is most common in sub-Saharan Africa and throughout the world. Then you have type 2, which is common in West Central Africa and parts of Europe and India. How does it spread, this disease? This AIDS, how does it spread? We have actually mentioned that the causative organism, the germ that causes this AIDS is HIV virus, So now, how does this virus spread from one person to another? It spreads by unprotected sexual intercourse with infected person. You cannot get it from a person who is not infected. They should be someone who is infected. And when you have unprotected sex with this particular infected person, then you may get the infection. The other way in which this disease can spread is by blood transfusion. If the blood of an infected person is given to you, you certainly will get the disease. But be rest assured, these days, all blood that is given to a patient is screened of this disease, and you cannot be given infected blood. So do not fear, because the blood that we are using in these hospitals is screened and safe to be used. The third way in which this disease can spread is by contact with infected blood or blood fluids or body fluids with broken skin, with a broken skin. Say if you have some trivial injury, when you have a cut somewhere, then you get in contact with the body fluids from an infected person, then you are likely to get the disease. There is a cut, the blood on that broken skin, then you are likely to get the infection. Injections also with the HIV contaminated instruments. In those olden days, we were using reusable needles. When they want to give you a jab, they'll give you, then that same needle is washed, cleaned, and given to, and used to give drugs to another person. That has since ended. It's not there. So injections, you get one jab using one needle, and that is all. One needle for one person. This is what happens now. But in case, sometimes, especially those who are giving themselves these drugs, the drugs, they use because they do not have enough of these, maybe that should not happen, because you can easily get yourself infected. The razor blades that we use as we shave, make sure that the razor blades you are using, you are the only one using them. They should not be used by any other person, because by so doing, you may transmit the disease or spread the disease to another person. From infected mother to a child, this is mother to child infection. A mother can infect the unborn baby. So that is another way in which this disease spreads. Even during breastfeeding, the child can easily get infected. Okay? So now we have looked at how this terrible disease, spreads. Now let's look at the important things to know about this virus. What does it do? This virus weakens the body soldiers. It actually goes in there and attacks your soldiers. And when those soldiers are attacked, then the body becomes open, unprotected. So when these soldiers have been killed or they have been disabled by this virus, then your body is open. Any germ can come in. And that's why you find those who have the disease, who are infected by this disease, by this virus, they usually suffer from any ailment that passes by. Be it a cough, you'll find they are the first people to get infected. Now, there are other germs such as TB. These also attack such people who are vulnerable because their immune system has been destroyed by the virus. It also takes about 3 to 8 weeks from the time of infection for one to be detected that one has the germ. So this is the period of time that somebody who has been infected will start showing signs that he has the germ. Now let's look at a few signs and symptoms of AIDS. It is important to know that one may continue to look very healthy for many years before he or she starts showing or complaining of having AIDS. That 3 to 8 weeks is the time that somebody can even test positive after being checked, examined. The blood, when it's examined, it will only show that you have the virus after 8 weeks of having contact with the germ. But after you have gotten that germ and you have been tested, they find that you have the germ. This person may live for a long time without anyone knowing that they are infected. They'll be very healthy. They'll be moving around healthily, not complaining, for quite a long time. During this time, the virus is actually working on the soldiers. So it takes time. And you should know that during this time, when this infected person is not showing symptoms and signs, he, on the other hand, is able to transmit the disease from himself to another person. He is known as a carrier at that stage. So this happens to be the most dangerous period because a person will continue spreading the disease to others unconsciously without knowing. And a lot of people will get infected. Okay? So now, how does somebody with the AIDS show? What symptoms do they show? The following are the most common symptoms and signs. The first one is fever. They will have fevers. They will have headaches. such a person will be coughing. There is sores in the mouth, and usually they lose weight and are weak. They lose something like 10% of their body weight and are weak. They feel weakness. Others will show rashes on the body and mental confusion. The hair also will change or may change. It becomes lighter and, it even changes color. Now, how can we prevent the spread of this disease? The first way to do that is making sure that adequate treatment of sexually transmitted diseases is actually done. All those who are found to have contracted sexually transmitted diseases need and must be counseled and treated of those sexually transmitted diseases. So there are two issues there. You must make sure that you counsel them so that after they have healed of these STIs, out there when they go back, they should not continue having unprotected sex. So you counsel them, talk to them, then you make sure that the STIs, the sexually transmitted infections, are treated. The second one is prevention of mother-to-child transmission during pregnancy. So encourage all pregnant mothers to attend antenatal clinics. At this clinic, what happens is those mothers are tested, and those who are found positive, those expecting mothers, when they are found positive, they are put on a program. They are put on medicines. These are ARVs, which should protect the unborn child. Then the use of condoms. Make sure that you protect yourself when you are having sex by using condoms. This is one way you can prevent the spread of AIDS, HIV. Then male circumcision. Male circumcision has been found to actually protect about 60% those who are circumcised. The 60%, you have 60% chances of not getting infected. But you should be conscious. All those, even if you are circumcised, make sure that you have protected sex. Use the condom. Whether you are circumcised or not, please use the condom. The other preventive measure is to use the ARVs. These are the medicines that you are given when you are found to be positive, and these medicines boost the immunity and lower the levels of the virus, meaning they suppress the virus, the activities of this virus, By so doing, the immunity is boosted and the levels of these viruses in your blood is actually lowered. Then most importantly, stick to one sexual partner. Stick to one sexual partner. When you follow these, you are rest assured that you are not going to get the disease. Now, what we should know is there is no medicine which has been found yet which can kill this virus completely. It has not been found yet, but I know that we are near, we are approaching that level now where we should be able to cure or to kill the HIV virus. But as it now, let us ensure that we use those protective measures in order to protect ourselves from getting the disease. Social and economic effect. How does this infection, when you have gotten it, how does it affect you socially and economically? One, when you have this disease, usually you lose friends because you'll be very sick and you will not be healthy enough to interact with your friends, especially when you have sores all over. Your friends may stop visiting you, so you lose friends that way. Others, you'll find even marriages end. The wife will run away from you because she cannot continue changing diapers of an old man. So socially, the wife may run away from you or the husband may run away from you. This we have heard, we have seen. It happens. There is also loss of business and job because of spending resources on drugs and being in hospital. There is loss of business because you are sick. You are unable to sit in that shop and attend to your clients. And because of those sores that you have and that rush, you'll find customers, if you start shunning your area, they'll be saying, oh no, if you go there, you're going to get the disease also. They'll start running away from your shop. So that affects you economically. Then the issues of buying drugs, because you have to buy drugs, like ointments to, suppress the rash. So that will actually take away the resources. Being in hospital, going to be in hospital, there is payment there. Now, that is money that you'll be getting out of business. So economically, it will affect you. Children stop school and they might end up in streets and might engage in vices such as beer drinking, criminology, all those bad vices. Why? Because the parent is unwell, is sick, and is bedridden. Children will end up in the street because they will stop schooling. You have no money to pay for them. So thank God that the free education has come, so that those who were failing to go to schools because they didn't have money to pay, this time they will be able to go to school. Less or no contribution to the national economy, of course. When you have AIDS and you become unproductive, you will not contribute to the national economy. So that is the social effect of this disease. Okay? We have looked at this disease, what causes it, the HIV virus, and we have known that there is no treatment yet that has been found to cure this disease. But there are ways in which you can protect yourself and prevent this. We have mentioned the issues of using the condom, the issues of being circumcised, the use of the ARVs, which will boost your immunity, sticking to one partner. Then make sure that you eat well. Okay? Nutrition also helps to boost your immunity. Make sure that you get balanced diets, and that will help you to boost your immunity. Now, we have looked at that. Let's quickly look at the dangers of alcohol and cigarette smoking. Introduction. Alcohol intake, cigarettes, and abuse of dangerous drugs have become a common feature in our society nowadays. Yes, it's true. If you walked around town this time, this is about 10 hours, so you will find our youngsters are actually sleeping near those booths or just around those booths, dead drunk. So society, our morals have gone bad. And especially the youths, they are the ones who are mostly affected now because they don't have anything to do. They end up drinking themselves as early as 6 hours. In the olden days, the taking of alcohol and cigarette smoking were mainly restricted to elderly people like me, especially in the African community. But today, the ones who champion cigarette smoking and alcohol are actually the youths, which is very bad. The situation is no longer the same. In most of our communities, children as young as 10 and of both sexes are seen abusing these commodities. The dangers of alcohol to health. There are quite a variety of alcohol brands. We know that. There are many. You are talking of the examples of the Mosi at 4%, the Castle at 5%, about 40%. And now our own, which is Cachaso, which is ranging around 80 to 90%. 80 to 90 varieties, of course, of brews with the unknown levels and contents. Most of them, and in not all cases, adverse effects are in the following. No, these drugs, these beers, they affect the inner organs of the body. They will affect your brain. This alcohol will even affect your nerves and the skin. I remember when we were still working, we had a certain gentleman. He was a driver. This man deteriorated to an extent that he could not be able to drive if he has not drank anything. So he makes sure that before he enters the vehicle, you will find he runs away, he goes somewhere, he gets a kajirijiri, he drinks. That's when he will be able to drive that particular vehicle. Nerves have been affected. The brain has been affected. So that is the danger of using or abusing alcohol. We are saying abusing alcohol. When you abuse alcohol, that is the time then that you will have such effects on your body. Otherwise, if you limit to maybe males, it's 2 pints, females 1 pint, that is healthy. Now, they mostly cause addiction. That's another problem. Alcohols cause addiction. Addiction is a situation where there is nothing what you can do without drinking. If you have not drunk, you can't work, you can't write, you can't teach, because you have not taken that which stimulates you. So you become addicted. You become an addict. That's an illness. Okay. Such people are supposed to be taken to rehabilitation centers. We have in China. The same alcohol can cause peptic ulceration. Those are ulcers in the stomach and intestines, which may even perforate, if they are not managed. Peptic ulcers, these are ulcers which are found in the stomach and in the intestines. These can perforate, and if they perforate, all that stuff which is found in the stomach and in the intestines will go into the abdomen. And if you are not attended to, you will definitely lose your life. The liver also is damaged by alcohol, abuse of alcohol, and this may lead to death. The same alcohol can precipitate the ensuring of hypertension. They can, the same alcohol can lead to someone to suffer from hypertension. The kidneys also may fail to function. Then you have what we call kidney failure. You may have hypertension just because of abusing alcohol. We have talked about alcohol. Now let's look at the other thing that we abuse, which is cigarette smoking and drug abuse. Wow. You know that when you smoke, that smoke goes into the lungs and it forms a layer on the linings of the lungs. And that causes difficulties in breathing. No wonder if you have smokers around, they have what they call the smoker's cough. It's that layer of smoke which every time he tries to cough out. So that same layer of the smoke which has accumulated around the or within the lungs there, that's where cancer develops from. So because of this same smoke which has deposited its smoke on the lungs, and there on the lungs where it has deposited, that is a site which can have cancer developing. So again, cigarette smoking would even cause hypertension. It can also cause heart failure. Your heart will fail to actually pump blood. You have also a condition where your blood vessels harden and the blood can also clot. It affects the clotting system of the blood. Cigarettes also can cause mental illnesses by way of brain damage and tremors. I mentioned here, giving you an example of someone I knew who was a driver. This someone actually had reached the level of having tremors and sometimes mental confusion. Then it can also cause strokes. Those are the people who just drop dead. They will just crash. They have a stroke. You'll find a part of themselves is weak and is paralyzed. That is a result of sometimes abusing cigarettes and drugs. The injections of drugs in the blood may cause introduction of germs such as hepatitis, sexually transmitted diseases, and HIV. We mentioned there when we were talking about HIV, how it was transmitted. We said it's by use of injections that can cause somebody to get infected. Now, let's look at the social impact, the social and economic effects of using drugs and cigarettes. You know that these drugs, the psychotropic drugs, which they smoke, which they drink, which they sniff, those are actually expensive. For you to buy a shot of cocaine, it's a lot of money. And now, here you are a business person, and now you have gone into this vice, meaning it will affect your business because most times the money which is supposed to be used in the business will be for you to sniff, need another money to go and buy the same stuff. So mostly individuals may engage into other vices such as promiscuity, you start having spare here and there, and that exposes you to infection. And then the same thing, honestness. So you have issues of mischanneling of family income. As a result, you run into debts. You become a very highly indebted individual. Then there is dwindling and gradually loss of business. You actually close out because you have no money. All the money has gone to the purchase of those drugs and the promiscuity. You have several homes now that you are going to support. So you end up using your business money to support those bad vices. Okay? Now, if you may ask yourself, why should we really drink? Or what benefits do you get from drinking? You ask yourself that question. Benefits are you going to get from there? Cigarette smoking. And, what benefits do you get from there apart from, smelling cigarettes yourself? Now, how do you stop these vices? Know your God and ask Him to actually deliver you from these vices, and you'll be delivered. The other thing is you must want to stop this vice. You must be determined to say, I am stopping this. I remember when I was still growing, I used to smoke a lot. I was a chain smoker, actually. So now, one time when I was in Lusaka, we went for a workshop there. I was smoking my cigarette. I went into an area where there were people, also doing, they were drinking in there. So when I was there with my cigarettes, these boys who push wheelbarrows. This boy just came in and said, but boss, sitibemela muno fuaka. Bwerani nimione sikubemera fuaka. Then surprising me, this boy takes me to a toilet. And in that toilet, they have written somewhere smoker's corner. I was embarrassed. I said, now here you are. You, wheelbarrow pusher. You are the one advising me. Now you have taken me to a toilet that I should smoke from there. Dear listener, that's the day I stopped smoking. I actually threw my packet of cigarettes there and I moved out of that place, went back and slept it off. And since then, I have never touched that cigarette. So, we have talked a lot about HIV/AIDS. We have talked about the dangers of and complications of smoking and the beer drinking, alcohol. Now, let's go now to another segment. Our time is 10:23. At 10:45, that's when we are going to open our lines. And when we open these lines, I'll give you the number. I think we are remaining with about 22 minutes. So the number that we are going to use my number, which is 09777 55 289. 0977 55 289. You will only start calling at 10:45. Then you can start calling. The number again is 09777 55 289. I will repeat that again. Okay, let's look at the next segment. The next segment is hygiene practices. Now, targeting us as entrepreneurs, business people, we are saying cleanliness is second to godliness. Hygiene of the body, which is the person, and the general surrounding, which is your environment, including food, is very important. These actually will help contribute to the business growth. I know everyone wants a clean place. They actually would want to be found in an area which is clean, which has got no dirt. So, let us follow it this way. We will start with the personal hygiene, then we will tackle food hygiene, we will look at waste disposal, sanitation, we'll look at safe water, and a clean premise or clean premises. Now, personal hygiene. The persons handling, especially persons who handle food, must make sure that they observe high standards of hygiene as follows. 1, the body should always be clean by means of regularly washing. Regularly washing. You know that if you have not washed for some days, there is an odor which comes from you. There is a smell, actually. You start smelling, and that is bad for business. So, a body or an entrepreneur, somebody must always make sure that they are clean and they wash regularly. Their nails should be cut short. You don't need to have long nails like a vulture. No, cut them, because those long nails under the nails, dirt accumulates and the germs grow in there. You may look very nice with those long nails, but under there, you would be carrying actually thousands and thousands of germs, which if you touch somebody's food, that food will have germs and the person who takes it may be affected. So let's make sure that the nails are always cut short, especially for those food handlers. There should be no rings for food handlers. Don't have rings. Reasons are that the upper part of the ring is okay because you are washing and it's okay. But under, the part which is in direct contact with your finger, under there is where germs hide and dirt accumulates under there. So it's best you do not put those rings on if you are a food handler. No bangles and no painting of nails. I know my colleagues, my friends, the women are even frowning now. They are saying, now what is he talking about? No painting of nails, because it has become fashion now to keep long nails and painting them. But for health and hygiene purposes, please, let us not use that. Hair should be always cut short. If you are a food handler, where possible, if you cannot cut short your hair, you must have something to wear on your head, like those head socks. There are special ones for hand handlers which you put on your head so that the hair is actually in that sock. Battery is low. Okay. You also should be able to use aprons, and the apron should be of light color. It should not be of a dull color, because you will not be able to see dirt on a black, a dark colored apron. At least let it be of a light color so that we should be able to see when it's dirty. Then you can have it, cleaned. Okay. The washing hands should be done before food preparation and after the use of toilets. Make sure that you wash your hands with soap and clean water. Food handlers are required after 6 months to go for a medical checkup, a medical examination. After they are examined and they are found fit, they will be given a food handler's certificate. So all those who are in restaurants, who are owning restaurants, make sure that your food handlers, your cooks, they must be examined at a medical institution every 6 months. It's done at Urban Clinic here, it's done at the hospital where you have laboratories. They do it. And they will even visit your premises and check it. Now let's look at food hygiene. We have looked at personal hygiene. Now let's look at food hygiene. Food hygiene. Make sure that good and clean food is bought for your clients. I'm talking to the restaurant owners now. Food. Do not cook bad food for them. You end up going to pick those rotten tomatoes there just because you want to maximize profits. That is wrong. If health officers find you, we have health inspectors who go around. If they find you, you'll be taken to task. make sure that the food is good and clean. Then ensure that all cooked foods are covered. You cover all cooked foods so that the flies should not be able to land on that food. You must use clean plates, and any other utensil there should be clean that you are going to use. And they should be washed using clean water and soap. Food should be served warm or hot. You should not reheat foods such as rice and meat. These should not be reheated. Do not reheat. After cooking, that's it. Do not reheat it. No recycling of food. Recycling of food is where the food for yesterday, if it did not finish, now today you open your restaurant, you want to use the same food, you recycle it. No, it's not allowed. It's unhealthy. If you are found, the health inspectors will deal with you. Utensils should be washed immediately after use. Immediately, let them not wait. Utensils that you used today should not remain dirty until tomorrow. No, just after use, make sure those utensils, the plates, the pots, they should be washed. Let's look at water. Let's use clean and chlorinated water. Clean and chlorinated water. Of course, some areas do not have this clean and chlorinated water. You use well water. That well water should be clean and free of, free from, those objects. Where you find water is dirty and what, it's better you have it boiled. Boil that water nicely, then cool it and store it in a closed container. In a container with a lid, a clean container with a lid. After you have boiled that water, put it in a container, a clean container which has a lid, cover it, and use it after it has cooled. Of course, we've been talking about issues of hand washing. Always use soap and clean water to wash your hands. Yesterday, somebody asked me about the water. I was saying, well, what do I do if where I go, there is no tap water? So the answer there was make sure that whatever water is there, if you are not very sure, have it boiled. If you have chlorine, you can add chlorine to it and wait until the chlorine has worked. That's when you can drink that water. So water is life. It's important that we make sure that the water that we are drinking is safe and clean. Okay. Now, let's come down to the premises now. The premises, these are your restaurants, These are your shops where you are doing business. Make sure that these places are free from cockroaches. Cockroaches like where there is food, which is dropped carelessly. You will find cockroaches there. Someone was telling me, when you enter a house and you don't find a cockroach, then you know that there is hunger in that house. But it's not so. Cockroaches bring disease. They bring germs. So let's make sure that our premises are free of cockroaches. Do not throw food anyhow because it will attract these cockroaches. Then make sure that the tables that you are using in that premise are clean. Tables, I have in mind a restaurant. In a restaurant, there are tables and chairs where people sit and consume their food, which you have served them. Those tables must be very clean. After a customer has left, make sure you clean that table. And make sure that there are no flies anyhow. In that place, there are no flies. It should be flyless. As for the building itself, it must have strong walls. The walls must be strong. They should not be rickety where they will end up falling on our customers. No, they should be strong walls. And the floors should be easy to clean. They should have a smooth finish so that they are easy to clean. And in that same building, you must make sure that there is adequate ventilation. The building must have enough windows and doors so that the air should be able to move in and out freely. That way, you'll be flushing out, those germs. This dwelling place or this premise should have a good ceiling. And it should be certified fit for trading purposes. We have inspectors actually. So do not start trading in a place without inspectors coming to, examine the building so that they certify it fit for trading purposes. That is all about our premise. Let's go to sanitation. You must provide a clean and disinfected toilet. Your toilet should always be clean and disinfected. I'm talking to those shop owners, those restaurant owners, those bar owners. Make sure that you provide a clean and disinfected toilet. If using a pit latrine, the pit latrine should be a VIP. This is ventilated, improved pit latrine. That one which has got a what do you call it? A pipe which actually, takes the smell out. It must have that. Then this same pit latrine must be clean inside. Where you do not have proper disinfectants, in areas like villages, you must use ash, wood ash is very good. Sprinkle that wood ash around the hole there, then close the hole. Find a lid for that hole to cover the latrine. Then you find that that latrine will not attract flies. You should also provide the toilet paper. Okay? You find something that people can use. Others have used the newspapers, but please do not use those from the maize, after you have shelled your maize. Now those things that remain, do not use that one. You will hurt the anal area, you will cause problems there. So don't use that one. You should use the toilet paper, or where possible, if you have old newspapers, you can use that. Old papers, books, those which are no longer in use, you can use that. Let's look at waste disposal. Our time now is 10:44. We have 1 minute. Then you can start calling on that number. The number I gave you was 09777 55289. You can call on that one. You can page. I'll be able to call back. Then you give us your question or contribution. Waste disposal. Where do you throw rubbish that is generated from your business premise? You must have or provide a refuse pit away from the premises, or better still, you must have a refuse bin where you'll be throwing all the refuse. Then make sure that somebody will come and get that refuse and dump it somewhere where it's supposed to be dumped. Here in Solwezi, we have the likes of Bawana. They collect refuse and dispose of it where it is safe. So even you can approach Wana. They are not even very expensive. They can be collecting your garbage for the whole month for as little as 30 kwacha. So that's it. So for waste disposal, you must make sure that you make provision of refuse bins and refuse pits, which are supposed to be situated away, some distance away from your premises, so that the flies that will be found on those pits should not have access to the premises. Okay? Refuse should be covered with a layer of soil. Now here we are looking at a refuse pit. The refuse pit, when you throw in refuse, cover that refuse with a layer of soil so that flies will not access the refuse. Okay? These which we have talked about are actually required by law. So the health inspector who comes to you will actually be looking at these statutes. You have the Local Government Act, you have the Public Health Act, you have the Food and Drug Regulation and Food and Drugs Acts. These are the laws that govern you as a business person, and you must make sure that you abide by these. How do you do that? You follow what we have discussed here, and you will not have problems with the inspectors. Why are those conditions that we have talked about, why are they required and why are they important? Because they give protection to your business. They will also help protect your clients. We don't want a situation where clients come and feed from your restaurant. Then as they go back, they develop diarrhea. No, you must give them good food. So that good food will be governed by the statutes that we have given you. The same conditions also help governments to run the affairs of the country by ways of reducing only outbreaks of diseases, which could cause deviation of public resources. Okay? The negative effects to business if not maintained, if not maintaining the practice. If you fail to maintain what we have discussed here, what will happen to your business? The first thing which will happen is clients will shun your business. They will run away from you. Oh, that business is dirty. That surrounding what? I cannot buy food from an area, from a surrounding, a place which is full of flies. And you start struggling and competing with cockroaches. So your clients, your customers will run away from you. And your business will be a reservoir of infection. It will be an area where there is a lot of infection. So that in itself is not good. And authorities, health inspectors, they may end up closing that business because it is dirty and it does not follow the laid down conditions. And if your company or is closed, your bank, your restaurant is closed, then it means you lose on income. You won't have income. So those are the few things we thought we should discuss. Now, the number I gave you was 09777 55 289. 09777 55 289. You can give us a missed call on 0977 55 289. Give us a missed call. Ask your question on what we have discussed. Then we'll be able to endeavor to answer. Call. Mr. Shinji Kinya, where are you? Call. So that is what we have discussed. Now, before, as we are waiting for people to call, maybe let's look at another common, the common health issues that an entrepreneur is faced with. One, entrepreneurs usually have a lot of stress. They have stressors. Most of the times they will be thinking of how to make money. And as a result, this entrepreneur will not rest. Okay, that's how it is actually. You have stressors because you'll be thinking about your money. Some of you entrepreneurs, the money that you have invested in that business was the last coin that you had. It could have been maybe your pension, which you have invested there. Now, you'll be thinking, if this money does not come back, what happens to me? So, those stressors, they lead to an issue where you develop hypertension because you are thinking a lot about your money. You are not resting enough because you want to make profits. So as a result, you find you wake. Over time, you can't even sleep enough, and you are always thinking, you don't even socialize, you are always stuck to your job. That is actually dangerous for you. It can cause you to suffer issues like a depression. You may end up having, hypertension as a result of you being stressed out. So how do we address such as entrepreneurs? Make sure that you follow this. Make a program. Make a program and ensure that in that program, you know what time you are going to start work and at what time you are going to knock off. You must have time to be with your family. You must have adequate time to rest. The recommendations are that you should be able to sleep for 7 to 8 hours in order to rest your brain and your body. So do not deprive yourself of this sleep. Make sure you get it. Then you must be able to socialize. Have time to discuss with your colleagues. Have time to play. You have time to watch football, such things, so that it takes away the pressures that you have. And by so doing, you will not develop issues of depression and hypertension. The other thing is make sure that you do exercises. Exercises does not mean you should be seen running heavily and sweating out heavily. No. Exercise is in many forms. You can do a walk. You can jog. Just walking from here, this studio, to town and back, that is enough exercise. So let us make sure that we exercise adequately, we sleep, we have enough sleep, then we eat well. I've seen some business people who do not even eat. Just because they are at work there, they are worried, they are not even eating. You'll find them losing weight and eventually they will suffer from a depression. Okay? So those are some of the things that you can do. We have only 2 minutes before we close. We are going to close at 11. They have given us time here. 11 hours. We should be ending. Thank you. Let me call you. We have a caller. Yes, now our phone. Hello? This. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Whom am I talking to?
You are talking to Alex Shinikinya.
Oh, sir, how are you? Finally, we have been given power.
Yes, we are following the program.
Please, thank you. Yes, your question?
Yes, my question is that according to the law
Yes.
of business, is it a must that even a shopkeeper is entitled to medical?
Come again?
Is it a must that even a shopkeeper is entitled to medical?
Okay.
Yes, that's my question.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. Where now? Where do I? Yeah. Hello? Oh, look at me. Yes, Mr. Shinjikinya here is asking, is it important that a shopkeeper should also get examined, should get a handler's certificate? The answer here is twofold. One, if in your shop you handle foodstuffs, then you must, it's a must that you should get a food handler's certificate. But if your shop sells clothes and things, there is no need. But as long as you are dealing in foodstuffs that you are selling to people to eat, you must get a food handler's certificate. I hope I have answered Mr. Shinjiki. Yes. Our time now is 11 hours. But if there is anyone who is trying to call, you can call. We'll be able to entertain you. We have been inconvenienced today. We may not get our usual 2 hours because of, the ZESCO interruptions which was there. We didn't have power up to about 10 hours. And now there is a long queue here waiting to come into the studio. So now, if there are no other, okay, callers, let me call you, sir. Yeah, no. Wait, it's like this. Me, I should call. Okay, I'm trying to call someone.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, madam. Whom am I speaking to?
My name is Charity Kamonga.
Sorry?
Charity Kamonga.
Oh, Charit Kamunga. Yes, madam.
Yes, I'm calling you from Bankan Extension here.
Sure.
Yeah. In fact, I don't have a question, but I just want to say I've followed the program and really,
Thank you.
yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. That is Charity. She's been listening. Sorry. I'm done. So, we are saying Charity has been asked, she's saying she's following and she's actually happy with what she has gotten. So, If there is any other caller also, we are giving you as the last caller before we leave this chair to our friends also. Hello? Otherwise, thank you for listening. I know that some groups may have been disturbed. Hello, there is another caller. Yes, let's call you. Let us call you. Okay. Hello, sir.
Yes, I'm back again, Alex Shindikinya.
You are welcome.
Yes, what I meant with my question is that is it a must that if a shopkeeper is sick, according to the law, is it a must that I can take him or her to the hospital with the business money? That's what I meant.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, the one who is taking care of your shop
Yes.
is sick.
Yes.
Now, do you use your money to take him to hospital?
Yes, that's my question.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you. Yes, if he has fallen sick in your shop, you would do best actually to assist him. He is your worker. He is your worker. He's working for you. Why not take him to hospital so that tomorrow he will be up and about and come to work? So you can assist them. You can take him to hospital using your money. Because you see, if he does not go to hospital and something happens to him whilst in your shop, people will talk. Okay? And you will not feel good actually. If you have a worker who dies in your shop, are you going to feel better? So quickly, you must make sure that you are responsible for those workers. And if that worker falls sick, they are quickly intervene, take him to hospital. I hope I have assisted you, Mr. Shinjikinya, there. Thank you. Now we have come to the end of today's session. Just as I said, sorry, we apologize for starting late. And I know we have lost a lot of listeners. A good number of them may not have waited. They may not have been patient enough to wait up to 10 hours because they thought 10 hours, that's it, we close. So we had no power up to 10 hours. So thank you so much for those who have listened and those who have also contributed. And we also thank Beats FM for actually working on these instruments so that we are able to transmit to you. Thank you, Beats FM. We will not forget to thank our sponsors, Kansanshi, and the Chamber of Commerce, which has been actually our driving force. Thank you, and thank you again. Thanks. I hope you don't care.